I was budgeting like a pro, so why was I still broke? I had color-coded spreadsheets. I meal prepped like a monk. No takeaways, no impulse buys, no Pret coffees since 2021. I tracked every penny. Even had a tab for just-in-case expenses. But by the 19th of every month, broke. Every single time. It wasn't laziness. It wasn't reckless spending. I wasn't out buying trainers or splashing cash on brunches. I was doing everything right according to the internet. So why did it still feel like I was losing? Turns out you can't budget your way out of poverty wages. And no spreadsheet can fix a broken system. I work full-time in admin for a mid-sized company in Manchester. It's not glamorous, but it's steady. Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Same train, same packed lunch, same polite nods in the staff kitchen. A few years ago, when energy bills started creeping up and my rent jumped by 150 because of market rates, I knew I had to get serious about money. No more winging it. So I did what the internet told me to do. I watched budgeting YouTubers religiously, those US creators with laminated folders and wads of cash in pastel envelopes. I joined UK money-saving Facebook groups, subscribed to the Martin Lewis newsletter like it was gospel. I downloaded apps, set savings goals, turned budgeting into a side hobby. Every expense was tracked. Weekly shops planned down to the pence. I bulk cooked on Sundays. Took my own tea bags to work. Even made an emergency toasty kit in my desk drawer just to avoid spending $4.5 at Greg's. I cancelled Netflix, cut Spotify, blocked ASOS on my browser. No fun, no splurges, just discipline. Every finance blog I read said budgeting was the fix, so I got serious. Google Sheets, envelope system, cash stuffers on TikTok. But by mid-month, my account was still gasping for air. Rent, council tax, rising groceries, random fees, train strikes making me Uber. It added up fast. And the second I thought I was ahead, something always hit: a birthday, a boiler issue, a parking fine. I kept thinking maybe next month it'll even out. It didn't. Instead of feeling empowered, I felt like I was playing financial whack-a-mole. Except the mallet was made of hope and the moles were multiplying. I thought budgeting would fix my money problems, but it only made me realize how deep they really were. At first, I thought I just wasn't trying hard enough. Maybe I'd missed something. Maybe if I got even tighter with the budget, cut one more thing, skipped one more luxury, I'd finally get ahead. So I did. I stopped going out. Made polite excuses for birthdays. Oh, I've got a quiet one planned this weekend. Translation: I couldn't afford the train fare, the drinks, or the obligatory takeaway the next morning. Dinner became whatever I could scrape together: toast, beans, oats, repeat. My winter coat? Still the same one from 4 years ago. The zip doesn't work anymore, but I just tuck it in and act like that's the style. The worst part? Everyone thought I was doing great. "You're so good with money," they'd say. "Wish I had your discipline." And I'd smile, nod, maybe drop a cheeky, "just keeping it tight this month." But inside, I felt like a fraud. Because the truth is, budgeting wasn't working. I was managing lack, not building wealth. Every decision was about survival, not freedom, not progress. It's a weird feeling, being praised for how well you're managing when you secretly know it's not enough. Not nearly enough. I stopped opening up to friends about money. They didn't get it. Some were earning more. Others had hell parents, partners, old savings cushions. Me? I had spreadsheets and stress. I started waking up with a tight chest, overthinking every transaction, putting things back at Aldi because I miscalculated mid-shop, sitting on the bus wondering if I'd be better off just not eating lunch today. It wasn't just money anymore. It was mental, emotional, a slow, grinding fatigue that made every day feel like a test I was somehow still failing. And the worst part? I was doing everything right and still losing. It was a Thursday. Cold, grey, damp, classic London winter. I'd just come back from work, still in my boots, scrolling through unopened mail. And there it was. A letter from the landlord. Rent increase. $125 more a month. Starting in 6 weeks. No warning, no reason, other than in line with current market value. As if the market cared, I was already living on toast and praying my boiler didn't die. I stared at the letter. Then at my budget, I'd planned everything. I had a cushion, well, what I called a cushion. $220 in savings, which had taken 4 months to build. Now to be gone. Again. I opened my laptop and tried to make the numbers work. Cut streaming? Already gone. No takeaways? Haven't had one since last summer. Groceries? Already oldie, already bulk. Transport? Walking to save on bus fares. There was nothing left to cut. No fat, no fluff, just bone. And for some reason, I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just went quiet. That night, I sat in my flat with my budget open and just snapped. Not with rage, with clarity. I realized I was managing scraps like I was protecting a fortune, like I was stewarding a great legacy of wealth. But there was never enough to begin with. My whole adult life had become one big money shuffle, moving pennies to look like pounds, tracking expenses like a hawk while ignoring the one truth I didn't want to face. The income was the problem, not me, not my oat milk, not forgetting to turn the lights off once in a while. I wasn't bad with money, I just didn't have enough of it. And budgeting, no matter how tidy or color-coded, couldn't fix that. After that rent letter and that hollow moment of silence, something in me shifted. I stopped looking for more corners to cut. There were none left. I took a long, honest look at my situation, not just through the lens of expenses, but through income. That's when it clicked. I didn't have a budgeting problem. I had a broken income model. I wasn't living above my means. My means were simply too low for reality. So I gave myself one rule: no more rearranging scraps. From now on, it was about adding more to the plate. It started messy. I Googled Side Hustles UK and fell into a wormhole of surveys for pennies, crypto bros, and drop shipping schemes that sounded like guaranteed stress. But buried in the chaos, I found small, doable ideas. I started reselling old clothes and books on Vinted and eBay. Took on a weekend gig helping a local cafe with their social media. Did proofreading for a mate's uni essay, which somehow led to a few paid gigs. Even offered to edit CVs and cover letters for £20 a pop in local Facebook groups. Some things worked, some flopped. One bloke ghosted me after a full CV rewrite. But I kept trying and learning. Then came the moment that broke me in the best way. I made £200 in a weekend running social content for a wedding planner in Hackney. No middleman, no deductions, just me, my phone, and the job done. When she handed me the cash, I smiled and said thank you. Walked away calm. Then I got on the bus and cried. Not because of the £2 though that mattered, but because, for the first time in months, maybe years, it felt like progress wasn't a lie. That money didn't go into savings. It went straight to the rent increase. But I paid it without fear, without borrowing, without rearranging magic beans. I started sleeping better, not because I was rich, far from it, but because I'd found something no spreadsheet had ever given me: momentum. It wasn't about working harder. I was already doing that. It was about working differently. And that difference, it changed everything. Once I realized the issue was income, not effort, things didn't magically become easy, but they did start making sense. I didn't stop budgeting. I just stopped worshipping it. Instead of obsessing over what I couldn't buy, I focused on how I could earn more, keep more, and use what I had better. I built slowly. The little freelance gigs continued proofreading, content for local businesses, CV editing. I wasn't raking it in, but I had more to work with. For the first time, I had options. And here's the thing with more income, budgeting finally started to work. Not because I suddenly became a financial genius, but because there was finally something to budget. Before, my emergency fund was just code for hopefully nothing breaks this month. Now, it actually grew. Before, payday disappeared in 48 hours. Now, I could plan, not just react. I wasn't surviving, I was stabilizing. I upgraded from free budgeting templates to Notion. Gave every pound a job and actually had a few left over. I also stopped punishing myself. If I needed a new winter coat, I bought it. If I fancied a takeaway on a Friday night after a 12-hour shift, I ordered it. No guilt, no panic spiral, just balance. That mindset shift was as powerful as the pay. I started investing time, not just in side income, but in skills. Took a few free digital marketing courses, played with Canva, asked for help, watched tutorials while doing dishes. Little by little, I got strategic, not just frugal, and people noticed. Friends started asking, "How did you turn it around?" Some assumed I got a new job, others thought I must have inherited something. If only, right? I told them the truth. Budgeting helps when you have something to budget. Otherwise, you're just managing a crisis with color-coded tabs. What I learned wasn't flashy or viral or finance influencer friendly. It was simple. Budgeting is a tool, not a cure. Income is the foundation. Stability starts when guilt ends. And once I stopped blaming myself and started building differently, the entire game changed. I used to think I was bad with money, that I just didn't try hard enough, that if I cut back a little more, planned better, hustled harder, I'd finally crack it. But after months of spreadsheets, skipped meals, and silent stress, I've realized the truth. I wasn't bad with money. I was underpaid, overworked, and lied to by Instagram finance bros with ring lights and six-figure brand deals. They made it sound like budgeting was the fix. Like saving £3 coffee was the secret to buying a house. Like if I wasn't rich yet, I must just be lazy. But here's the real deal. Budgeting is a tool, not a solution. You can't build a house with just a screwdriver. And you can't build a life if your income doesn't match your cost of living. If your budget is failing, it doesn't mean you are. It might just mean the system was never built for you to succeed in the first place. Don't beat yourself up for struggling. Don't feel shame for scraping by. The problem isn't your oat milk, or your Netflix subscription, or your cheeky Nando's. It's wages that haven't kept up. It's rent that's gone mad. It's the quiet lie that says, you just need to be better with money. Because no matter how tight you budget, if there's nothing to stretch, you'll snap. So here's my new money mantra. It's not your avocado toast, it's the economy. And no spreadsheet in the world can fix that, but maybe, just maybe, a mindset shift can. Think this couldn't happen to you? I did too. I thought discipline was enough. That budgeting would save me. But if your income's broken, no amount of cutting back will fix it. If you've ever stared at your perfect spreadsheet and still felt broke, you're not alone. You're not bad with money. You're stuck in a system that blames you for surviving it. Follow for more real UK money stories, no fluff, no fake hacks. And subscribe if you've ever had budget burnout, while everyone else just says cut lattes. We're doing it differently.